Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the weekly natural gas update video where I break down UNG, which is the tradable ticker for natural gas, as well as natural gas itself. And I will be doing support and resistance guide for you guys, as well as what's the most likely probable scenario for going into the future for price action as well. So, all right, so let's get started. And I'm also playing piano music in my background and just testing now, see how it sounds like when I do a recording. So if you guys feel free to comment below if you guys like it or not. And also feel free to comment as well if you're in a bull or bearish position in natural gas and where you would like to see the price action go. All right, let's get into it. So right now we are looking at UNG on the daily time frame. So we pulled back a lot more than what we wanted to. And you can see we're still trading exactly in this falling wedge, which is this maroon looking line. So you can see this is the resistance and this is the support. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. As long as there's 3 touches, it's a valid pattern. So we have 4 touches for resistance and 1, 2, 3, 4 touches as well for support. So now we rejected from that top of that range again, and as resistance. And so far, it's pulled back a lot more than I expected. We had a daily uptrend here confirmed for the very first time in a very long time, and I was expecting the pullback to be, somewhere around here, and then potentially test this again. We pulled back close to, let's see, from this A to B move, we have pulled back over 50%. So you can see this green line right here, 0.5, means that the pullback is already over 50%. We're over 0.61% as well. So that's a little bit more than what the bulls would want to see. But we pretty much closed right on support. We did break through it and kind of close within it. So if we do break that level, I am looking down and right here, 6.3 to this double bottom here, 1, 2. And we see right here when we're under it, when we're under a support, it'll act as resistance. So this was acting as resistance, and over here we're acting as support. So now our price is above. So if we do come down here, it should acts as a support. And because we have formed a daily downtrend now, the bounce over here was supposed to bounce off of here and then come back to retest, but that didn't happen. So now we have a daily downtrend now. So it went from daily uptrend to daily downtrend, which is not a good look for the bulls. But if we go through a longer time frame, so let's go to the weekly. You can see it's this falling wedge has just been playing out for a very long time, since January. So the most likely scenario is this will continue to play out, although it's basing out here, starting to base. So if this does start to base, we bounce off of here and then continues to base around here, then there's a good chance that we'll break out of this falling wedge bullish. But if we do start breaking down into that this weekly triple bottom support at 6.3, then there's a good chance we'll retest the all-time lows for UNG, which is 6.1, and then this pattern could potentially continue for weeks. Who knows how low it can go to. Natural gas's tendency is to have a decent move up and then it just fades, like a slow fade. This was a 26% move just from this 2-week bounce, and then now just fading, just like this one earlier. You can see that in the February move, that was a 40% move, and then we faded the whole thing, gave it all away and even more. So if it continues to fade, then it's the characteristics of natural gas. We always have to put a stop loss when we trade natural gas. So if you want to play a leverage 2x ETF, that'll be BOIL, BOIL, which is the leverage 2x ETF for UNG. So if UNG moves up 3%, BOIL would be up 4%. So if you'd like to leverage your position, that's a good ticker to trade, and you'll move exactly like UNG, just 2x. All right, let's get into the natural gas itself. So interesting enough, this rejection here coincides with the top of the UNG rejection here. Usually natural gas is the one that's leading price, but I watch both if I was trading both of natural gas. So this resistance right here is pretty much this cluster of resistance. You can see all this zone right here, all these volume traded, all these 3 as well, that acted as prior resistance. So when we got up to here, you can see people started to sell. So let's say Joe, Bob, Smith, or whatever bought it here, right? And they bought it here, and a lot of people bought it here because of how clustered it is. And then it started dropping, and you're like, oh, I wish I could just get out, break even. And then we actually got to this part, and then they just got out of their count, and they're like, all right, I'm out of this thing. So that's why they were allowed selling here. You can see the volume that day was notably high compared to other days. You can see all these volume down here was much lower. So that's essentially the psychology of where a cluster of area acting as resistance is due to the amount of volume that is traded in that area. And this pullback has also confirmed a daily downtrend now, and which is not what we want to see for the bulls. So next level I'm looking at is 2.1. This level has to hold, and due to us bouncing off of it so many times. Look at it right here, we bounced off of that. Tried to hold it here, didn't. Acted as resistance here because we're under it. When the price was under it, came up, rejected from it. We're above it. You can see support, bounce off of it, support, bounce off of it, and now we are above it. So if we do come down here, I want to see this bounce due to there is quite a bit of volume trading in this zone as well. So this is the zone we're currently testing. So we want to see that zone hold and come back up to it. If it doesn't, then we're back down testing this zone. It will be at 1.92 level, this quadruple bottom right here. So if we do break this zone, we're back to 1.9. And currently, we need more price action to know if this is going to be a bouncing off this off or not. And the very first thing I want to see is an hourly trend change back to the bulls. So right now, we are in a daily, hourly downtrend, 4-hour, and everything downtrend. So right here, see this is the initial move. This is the pivot. So this is the lower high, lower than this high, and that's the hourly downtrend. So if we do want an hourly uptrend confirm, we need the initial move, just like initial move up, and we want to set a higher low. So this low is higher than this low, so that's a pivot low, and they want to break the prior pivot high. So that would confirm a hourly uptrend, just like how this sets a pivot right here and confirm a hourly downtrend. So the very first thing I want to see from the bulls is an hourly uptrend before we consider anything on the longer time frame on the daily. So that's the very first step. I don't think we're even at 5 minutes. We're not in the 5-minute uptrend either. So 5 minutes is not that important because 5-minute trend can change within like an hour, right? We can have a 5-minute uptrend, and next thing you know, we can have a 5-minute downtrend in the next 25 minutes. So that's not very notable for me. So hourly is the very first thing I'm going to be looking at for hourly uptrend confirm, and then we will zoom out into the daily to see. So let's say we confirm the hourly uptrend in the next 2 days. Candle will look something like green, and then probably a little bit like that, and then we can say this is the potential pivot for the daily chart, meaning we can probably get in and set a stop loss below here, and because of hourly trend change. And so we want to see this as acts as a pivot. If we're wrong, continues, then we get stop out for small loss. If we're right, then this should bounce and then pivot back and won't give it all back, then confirm a daily uptrend after that. And then you can potentially take profit close to this level again. As of now, let's zoom out into the weekly so we can see what it might look like in a longer term. So for me, this longer term look is just starting to base out a little bit. You can see we have such a huge move up, down, and it continued the weekly downtrend. And now we're just basing out a little bit here. So it's such a big move up and a big move down and a big move up. The most likely scenario now is in equilibrium, which means it will chop within its prior range and to work things out until it decides to break whichever way it wants to break. So that's the most likely scenario. When we have a swing on both sides of the move that are large, and now we are potentially coming back here. So let's say we come back to this level, right? This 2.1 level where access support, bounce, and then we just potentially tighten up, and then maybe take us into July before we see a big break to the upside or the downside. Yeah, feel free to comment below if you guys got any questions on natural gas or any of the other things. I have a market update video from yesterday where I had a 17-minute video breaking down SPY, QQQ, NVIDIA, as well as what I'm currently seeing in the market itself. And the market going forward as well for next week, and the earnings and the rate hikes, all that kind of things, economic datas. And tomorrow I'll be doing just a tech stock breakdown where I break down Tesla, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Apple. So I'll be doing technical analysis for all 6 of them in one video tomorrow. And just make sure to check that out. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And have a great rest of you guys' weekend. And feel free to comment below if you guys have any questions. And I'll see you guys around.